some of the other versions too.
Okay.
Like then you can see.
Classical bangers. Best of classical music explosion.
Welcome everybody to a special Christmas-themed episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast, where we discuss and celebrate some of our favorites in TV and film. I am your host Xavier, and today we're going to get into the Christmas spirit and go talk about one of my personal favorite Christmas movies to watch. Joining me today to learn what it means to keep the spirit of Christmas in your hearts is going to be Zach. We have... Nice. It's a little clue if you haven't been following along which version of A Christmas Carol we'll be talking about. But I also have Danny here.
What's up?
Nice. No Muppet impersonation.
Nothing.
For him.
Yeah, that was Kermit. I don't know.
Hey guys.
Oh, hi there.
And we have Danny. It's Piggy. No, I'm kidding.
You mean Anthony?
Anthony. Oh, sorry. I'm too blown away by Beaker and Zach. That was really good, actually.
Like a humbug, I guess.
All right, so he has to be the serious one here in the whole shebang, a la Michael Caine. I love it. Perfect. So yes, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves in this wild, wacky, zany version of a Christmas classic, we're going to talk about A Muppet Christmas Carol. Right now, should be streaming on Disney Plus.
Yep.
And it's actually over time developed its own, gone from like a kid's favorite to a cult classic to then after almost 30 years looking into it and saying it's become like one of the definitive versions over time. I mean, I guess as of last year, it came out in 1992. So we're recording this it's 31 years old. So I am technically older than this film.
You're back.
Oh no. But I was a little hesitant, honestly, in picking it, but I wanted to get something a little different from like your standard, maybe goofy and like wacky Christmas movie, a la something like Jingle All the Way, even though Jingle All the Way can be a little like, subversive and anti-capitalist, whatever. And also something super serious, like, It's a Wonderful Life or something like that. And I wanted to kind of bridge the gap. With something that kind of spoke to my childhood a little bit. I grew up watching a lot of the Muppet Babies cartoons when I was I either stayed home from school or there was like downtime while waiting for my parents to pick me up from school. And knowing that they had actually like the live action Muppet stuff, I just found just the fun mix of funny but also like witty comedy in there too. And over time, this version, I go between this version and the 80s version of A Christmas Carol starring George C. Scott, which he actually was nominated for an Emmy for because he's really, really good. But I wanted to make it a little less serious. So hopefully we brought a little bit of the whimsy, but still that heart for you, you three gentlemen, to kind of get into the movie. So getting right into it, Danny, have you ever seen this one before?
I have not.
You had not. And Zach, you've never seen this either.
Nope.
Anthony, I believe you have.
I have, but when I was young, and so I had to rewatch it because I didn't remember that much.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of worth rewatching anyway, because it's not that long. It's like an hour and a half long, and I was worried
it was
that
like an hour and 20? No?
Yeah.
And then credits. An hour 26.
Yeah, I was worried that, and since it's a Muppets movie, it's going to have some musical numbers. So I remember thinking, I don't know how they're going to, react to musical numbers. But I think we all really enjoyed West Side Story. So even like the newer one. So, we were right into it. So going right into it, I'm going to kind of start the discussion here is what did you guys think about Michael Caine playing like a completely, like just treating the Muppets and the whole situation as like genuinely like Ebenezer Scrooge, no tongue in cheek, no like I'm in a Muppets movie kind of thing. This man was just really in it.
Yeah, he was like like if they didn't like exist as Muppets technically.
Exactly.
Like they were just like normal actors.
Yeah, he was just Scrooge.
Yeah.
He thought he was on like a Broadway stage and just was like, I'm gonna act the crap out of this movie.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved every time how they add the Muppet spin to some of the characters. I like that it's not just Scrooge and Cratchit. It's Scrooge, Cratchit, and then you also have the bookkeepers, which are just the extra mice. And I love how like again, like they will come up with something really goofy of like trying to get coal. Like, hey, we can use some coal, man. We're freezing our assets off here, and like little stuff like that. And then he's just like, and then like they wrote into it where he's just like, hey, you know, you can be complaining from the unemployment line, and he's just like yelling. It was like it's like and then they kind of switch back and turn around. It's like, oh, I'm feeling the heat, and one of them puts on like a Hawaiian gig on, and like you think it's like really stupid and over the top, but like. Then it's balanced by that serious gravitas of Michael Caine. It was I loved that. Like
it definitely has like
carried
that like back and forth of like witty, funny, like Muppet style, and then it goes to like Michael Caine just being super serious and being more emotional. Let's say.
Yeah, bringing the seriousness to the role. Like Ebenezer Scrooge is this. Now almost timeless now character of somebody who's just like over time has kind of like hardened himself to just human emotion, caring, and just used the pursuit of finance and money to just kind of like be his sole purpose because everything else has kind of sort of let him down. And you see that a bit even with the plea of these basically in the story. Scrooge gets solicited by these guys to donate to help the poor, and it's played by. Dr. Honeydew, Dr. Honeydew and Beaker, which Zach had to bring out his whole thing on it, and like that whole initial scene too, just like how like just seriously plays Scrooge's lines of this like, oh, I don't know, poor houses, like, well, if they're to die, they'd rather die. Well, then they'll decrease in surplus population. And Beaker's just like so distraught. He's like, oh my god, this guy's like dead inside. Like, and he's just like scared. You see him like freaking out and scared, and it's like he's hiding behind like Dr. Butts and Honeydew. He's like, oh my god, I'm so scared. He's just like, I think we've taken enough of his time. He's like, yeah, I have, and it's just like. It's kind of funny, but again, it still has like it hits the serious moments for me, man. Like there's so many of those moments. I like to joke that we get a 2-for-1 when it comes to like Jacob Marley's ghost. So you actually get I don't know if you guys know about the Muppets, but you basically there's those two heckler characters that are basically they're known as Statler and Waldorf. And they're always on the balcony just, like, making fun of whoever's on stage and just, like, heckling the hell out of them. So,
well, yeah, when I went to, is it Hollywood Studios? They have the Muppets show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I went there, I was like a couple years ago. And then, of course, they're up on the balcony. And they're
just trolls. They're the ultimate trolls.
Yeah. Like
in between, like, parts of the skit and everything.
They're the ultimate trolls, but, like, they don't just like say whatever the hell. They'll actually use the material and kind of like throw it back at whatever performer's face. It's usually at Fozzie's expense or someone like that. But
waka waka.
Yeah, he's just like, you managed to make it even worse. Like just it's great because then it also ties into the whole thing of just like the way they speak is almost like a ghost-esque because they were already old anyway, and then it's like. You can dress them up as those kind of ghosts. The whole bit too of like them haunting Scrooge. Like it's like half goofy, but then it's also like you get the freaky part where like he goes for the door handle and it's one of their faces again. He's just like ooh, like and he's like again like kind of trolling them at the same time, but it's also freaky because they actually I think it was actually like his Muppet face like they would phase it in. He'd have to grab an actual thing. So.
It's like the knocker.
It's called. The part when they change, like they changed them up. There's some creepy parts in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is half a horror story. Mm-hmm. Like this is it's this a Christmas Carol. It's hopeful tale, but also half a ghost story.
Yeah, well, because I watched the Robert Zemeckis one, and I mentioned it before Jim Carrey, where he's actually all of the ghosts, right?
Yes, Jim Carrey
in this one.
I've seen that one. Growing up, like that's the one I mainly remember.
Growing up, the movie came out a few years ago. Like, it came out like maybe a decade or so ago.
I think it was 2008 or something. Like,
Yeah.
Danny, you're the info guy. 2009.
That was the ninth grade.
9?
Yeah, 2009. I
That's
was already
growing
in
up.
college and the movie came out. Did that come out before or after after Beowulf? Yeah, because Beowulf came out 2007. But anyway, that scene, the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, like that whole that sequence just is weird to me. Like it's like I don't know. It's like I don't know. It takes me away from the whole like, hey, this is the part where you're supposed to see all the bad stuff that can happen.
Yeah, like
it's just
it was such a huge contrast from having seen like the Zemeckis version where it's a little bit more serious and supposed to like be not frightening, but Scrooge is supposed to be like terrified of like
He's
dying.
scared, like dying. Not only him dying,
Well, and
but,
also like seeing that Tiny Tim and like the family and everything.
and seeing also like everybody just still being really cold and heartless. Like you saw the other Muppets when they're divvying up his stuff. Like that part is like kind of funny because they're still throwing out like zingers and one-liners, but it's also kind of like, oh, you're getting the idea. It's like, oh, he should have, he waited too long to finally have,
To give away
yeah,
what he has.
to give away what he had because he had to like bite the dust in order to get it. So it was again hitting those points home, and like Michael Caine's like seeing it and not just like, I like that he's not like freaking out, distraught, but he's just like sad, like, and you can see it. Like it's just like his body language has changed. Like he's just like it's sad, but they're like, no, there's still hope. And I like that the giant like costume, or even if you want to consider it a Muppet for the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, like he's like it's still kind of freaky, but it's like, oh, it's also kind of a Muppet still. That's
pretty cool.
The last one, right?
Yeah, the last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, the one that had no face.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
creepy.
Yeah,
It was like a Dementor type like Muppet.
it's enough to give the point.
There
They're
were
like,
cool effects too, because then when he first took him, and then like the whole
The
screen just like
background
warps.
was like a black hole.
Yeah, it was cool.
I also liked. We didn't talk about. We talked about the cast. How most of the Muppets play the characters of the movie. I like that the movie is narrated by Gonzo
Gonzo as Dickens.
actually Charles Dickens, and like they talk about omniscient narrators. He's like,
Oh,
I know
yeah,
everything. He's like,
yeah.
how do you know he's there right now? It's like. I know this like the back of my hand. Oh yeah, prove it. Well, there's a little
mole.
spot and the mole. There's like, no, buddy, and he's there with Rizzo the rat, and like that's where like I got to know, like, learn of the character Rizzo the rat, how he plays very well to Gonzo's like wild, zany daredevil antics. Like it's funny because then like throughout all the physical gags that Rizzo gets stuck in, like Gonzo's always there, like, oh, stop playing around, or it's like, oh, I almost froze my butt off. I was froze, like, oh, lucky you, like, because he wants to like go out there and do all of the wild, daredevil stunts, and it's like the whole funny thing of Gonzo's like, wow, you're having all the fun while he's like narrating like a semi-serious story. And like when they get to that third part, I know we're jumping around a lot. When he gets to that the third act. He and Riz are like, it's too scary. We'll see you at the other end of it, and we're like, what? So like, it's fun because like
We'll see you in the finale.
Yeah, we'll
That's what
see
he
you at the
said.
finale. We gotta go. Like this is like they knew not to make it too goofy. Like that's,
Yeah, like let that part be serious.
Yeah, because there are some parts where Gonzo's narrating, and those are actually like lines from the book. So he's just like citing the book, and then I like how they also pivot and they have their own lines. So that's
Marley
cool.
was as dead as a doornail. Like that's I believe that's how the story starts. Like it's just like it's like one thing to remember about the story is that this guy is dead. And you're like, damn. Like
And Rizzo was saying something about it too. He's like, well, that's a pretty. Like, oh, but that's the
he's
story.
like, that's how this starts. Yeah, this is how the story starts. What do you want to do? Kermit as Bob Cratchit is perfect. I like how there's always a mix when you meet Fred, his nephew. Like when he's at the party, it's like his wife, the human character, and then other Muppets there too. Like that's like they're playing the game, the word game, and it's fun because then even in the street when you first meet Scrooge, he's just like just completely against everybody else, just on his own like almost warpath going through the town. It's a mix of people singing and also the Muppets singing too. Like it's a good mix where it's just like, yeah, like there's all this kind of like semi-zaniness. There's mice trying to beg for cheese in a wall, but like he's just playing as if like, hey, I'm in Victorian or or Charles Dickens era London, just doing his thing. It's a great mix. Like the more you think about it, I think it's like, man, it's an awesome balance for it all. I don't know. I was meant to ask Anthony's question. What did you think about the Muppet they used for the Ghost of Christmas Past?
Past or present?
Past.
So the creepy, like,
oh my god,
yes,
little kid doll.
freaking
Oh my
creepy.
god, dude.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, this is a kid's movie.
Like, yeah, exactly. When I was watching this, I was like, man, I probably was scared when I saw this when I was a little kid. Because, I mean, granted, they should be scary because they're ghosts.
They're ghosts.
But yeah, man, that's one of those dolls you find on a creepy island or something like that. It was like pre-Annabelle.
It's like half lifeless face, but like
It was like smiling but not smiling because it's dead.
and it's like creepy child voice. It's just like, come on, Ebenezer.
And it's like floating. So it's like, oof, this is weird.
Oh yeah,
It's like, come on, you see what's going on.
let's go to your past. And his old teacher is Sam Eagle. That's the American way. It's like,
No, the British way.
the British way. I love Sam Eagle. It's so stupid. Like, again, little stuff like that, or like when Gonzo and Rizzo are on the bookshelf, and just like, you could have a fine foundation like this building, and falls
it
over.
falls?
Just like, I meant to fix that. Like, I've been meaning to fix that. Like, again, just really fun stuff. But again, like, Scrooge is seeing his childhood. Like, man, like, I was like this the whole time. Like, even as a kid, like, man, this is kind of sad. Like, I didn't have nobody to go home to, and or my family. And then he like the time jump to where he's like a young professional, and they go to even instead of Fezziwig, it's Fozziwig. Like the moment where I'm watching this kid like Fozziwig, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And then it's like Fozzie's just like, no, have some fun. You got to do all this stuff. And he has like his wife there, and which in the story, like his wife's also like a reveler. Like, come on, we got to have fun. It's like this is costing a lot for the parties. It's like, it's expenses we're gonna make back. It's Christmas. We gotta have fun, and then we get again. You gotta have the Muppets flair to it. So the in-house music is played by none other than the band that Animal plays the drums on. I had to look this up actually when I was watching the movie, because when the band usually shows up, it's always a lot of fun, and then Animal goes nuts and on the drums it just kind of like breaks everything.
Typical Animal.
Yeah, typical Animal. And the band name is incredible. I'm kind of mad I never knew this earlier, but the band is called Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Like, that's kind of a badass band name. Like, it's so, again, it's very, it fits the
Fitting.
Muppets. Very fitting for the Muppets. And, yeah, we get some, fun stuff in Christmas Past. And we go, again, Michael Caine is playing through all this stuff, and he's remembering, is like, oh, this guy threw the best parties. And you're like, what do you know about parties, guy? And then you get to see it from there. It's really, really cool. And then, of course, it kind of goes right into, some of these, like you have some of the musical numbers which I'll get to later, but talking about now going into the section of Christmas Present. I think that part is really memorable for a lot of people, especially me as a kid. Because usually the Christmas Present ghost is like this like happy, jolly,
Almost like a Santa Claus.
Yeah, almost like a Santa Claus ghost. But I don't know, what did you guys, Zach and Danny, think about this ghost specifically?
They made him so huge. First of all, like, that must have been a big, either a really big puppet or small. But then in editing, they made him look bigger. But
No, I think it was just that big.
I think it's a large
It looked like he was just
puppet.
a huge
Yeah.
puppet. But that was
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, what do you think about characterization? Like, if you've seen the Marvel Zemeckis version, that Christmas ghost is usually tall.
usually is
huge.
portrayed as like.
But like
yeah.
the characterization was a little different, I think, from what I've known in the past. Like, the whole beginning section is great because it's just like he's kind of absent-minded, but he kind of knows what's going on, but kind of doesn't. He keeps repeating, it's like, "Come closer," and and let me know you, man. You're just like, oh, okay, like. And like, again, like, you think it's like, oh, is this the point where like Michael Caine's gonna break and realize he's in a Muppet movie? And he's just like, no, Spirit, I think I find you quite peculiar. And I forgot what he says, but it's like very, very much like you're not quite the other spirits. So it's just like, nope, I have another 1,100 siblings. And he's just like, what the heck? This guy's
Like totally different compared to the past.
Yeah, compared to
Creepy
scary,
doll
creepy
and-
past creepy doll.
And then no face dude.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of lure him into this is what the spirit of the times of Christmas present is now. Especially when he sees things like Fred's party, he goes to the Christmas dinner with he gets to look into the Cratchit Christmas dinner, and that's where we see Kermit's. Bob Cratchit is Kermit's like whole the family life, and we get to meet Tiny Tim. But we also meet Mrs. Cratchit, which Miss Piggy is hilarious for. And I didn't know for a while, or maybe still is, Frank Oz does the voice for Miss Piggy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I totally had forgotten about that. I was like, wait, what?
He does a lot of
Yeah, he
always
does
in the
a lot of them. I forgot it was like specifically
Yeah.
Miss Piggy, and it's just like,
And then Frank Oz is of course known for Yoda.
Yeah,
for anyone
of course,
that wouldn't know. And he was a producer on this movie too. I think like one of the major producers.
Well, he does a lot of the
The
movement.
He's a
of the
puppeteer.
Muppets, yeah.
Yeah, he's a puppeteer. He's been doing Sesame Street since the beginning almost, or pretty much since the beginning.
that's very true. Yeah. And then Danny, what did you think about the, like this version's Tiny Tim?
Well, I don't have too many versions to compare to.
Compared to, there's always a little
Tiny
kid with
frog.
it.
Yeah,
a little
like-
kid with it. It's like a tiny little frog. He's trying to.
But
hop around.
I think with like the Muppets version, it just makes you feel like, oh, like
It's a little
you know,
frog.
It's a
you
little
feel more
frog.
related, like not related to it, but like feel more compassionate.
Yeah.
and like oh,
And then he like sang. He has his little musical number too, which is like
true.
that kind of helps sell the thing. Because
Gives it
normally you
life
get
and, like-
more like backstory on a Tiny Tim, like oh you should have seen him in church today, which they say in this one was like
Yeah.
he's so great or this whatever. And but it's like hey we're gonna help you be more endearing by having the whole family go into a song and talk about their meager existence and hey let's be thankful for what we currently have and that's where you get the.
him just watching like all this happen.
Yeah.
like just
He's like, this is the Christmas feast. That's it. Like, he's like, that's what he has. It's like, and then it's like, and I think it's the close to Christmas presents. It's like, well, that's what you pay him. What do you expect, buddy? And he's just like, whoa. And that's when the things start hitting him. Just like, oh, this is the kind of impact I can have. Like, again, you hit the familiar.
Earlier, like in the
things.
movie, when Kermit was saying like, oh, can we have like the day off, or like maybe I think he mentioned like a pay raise, but I think the main part was like, oh,
No, the
can we
main
just
part
get
is just
the
like, hey,
day off.
it's Christmas Day. Like, we should
Oh no, because he wanted him to come early.
Yeah, he's like, come early. He's like, but sir, it's Christmas Day.
And he's like, fine, 8:30.
Yeah.
like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's just like it's Christmas Day, sir. It's just like we'll give you time.
What do people normally do on this? And he's like, they get the day off.
They have the day off, and he's just like, well, it seems like a
Fine.
Well, yeah, he said again was like, oh, it seems like a way to cheat out people of good money. He's just like, well then, yeah, since he's like, but sir, no one's gonna be able to do business with because everyone else goes. He's like, well then, fine. That's like,
Yeah.
that's a point. But we're gonna have to come back at 8:30 the next day. Like, that's why
And
they
they're
come
like,
in
"Fine,
earlier.
yes."
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, we did it. And even like the bookkeepers are like, all right, yay. And oh man, and like the other stuff earlier in the day, like, do you remember? Well, in the beginning of the movie, when like he's had this whole like his bah humbug spiel and everything in the office, and then like he opens the door and it's the little rabbit kid, and he's just like,
yeah.
and he's just like so scared, and you're just like, no, he is extremely mean because he's being mean to Muppets. Like, it's so mean, but it's like,
And the fact that he's just so like stone cold, like serious, not like if he was acting with Muppets, it's like
yeah, it's just like
So
he's
harsh.
treating them as like real people, and that's kind of like Muppet People World. That's what you would kind of do at this point, like,
Yeah.
and that's why when they have like the scary like Mr. Scrooge introduction song, like you don't need a lot of the other like classical establishment of it. Like he gets his own like villain song in the beginning of the movie, then you know it's like okay, this guy's mean. Like this guy's
you
not.
gotta have your villain song.
Yeah.
The whole town.
Yeah, the whole
Sing
town
about
is just like this dude is bad news. Like I will say is in other versions, like I know the Ghost of Christmas Present can get a little like scary and freaky sometimes, but like I like the change of pace that this one did. It's just like, oh, I don't have to be like super cold and scary. Like I just got to show you the present, and you can see already just like the impact you're having or what you could do. Especially like when he starts to realize like, oh, like those, you know, people who need this stuff for the poorhouses can do stuff. But
I really like how hairy he was, because like there's a lot of scenes like while they're walking, it's just like windy, and then it almost looks like it's CG, but it's not, because that's just how cool they made that Muppet. It's like you don't see that often anymore.
yeah, and he's moving realistically, but it's also kind of like lumbering about. That's always like you gotta nail that one. Like, and when any type of Christmas Carol retelling, like you gotta nail. Like you can always have liberties with the Ghost of Christmas Past, but you have to nail the Ghost of Christmas Present, and like Anthony's point, the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Like you gotta do that.
Which for me, I think I enjoyed the Ghost of Yet to Come the most.
Even when he shows the gravestone, where he's just like, and it's just like. It's not, and one thing I will say is like Michael Caine, when he plays Scrooge in this point, like it's not like despair, you know, like I've seen one or two of the versions where it's like, oh, like freaking out, super sad, and it's just like, but like it's like super sad. It's like just really sad. Like it's not like, you know, they're bawling tears, like no, I can change. Like it's just like really like internalized. But then like there's that little spark of hope. It's just like there's got to be something. There's got to be like that's where it sells it a bit. But you know what I mean? Like it's. Granted, if it's supposed to be a ghost story, you'd think there'd be like you'd think, oh, he might just go into wild hysterics. But I think it was measured, just like a good.
Like I like how they did it in this sort of way.
Yeah.
And not like freaking out in the sense of like how you were saying like.
Oh, I'm
just
gonna
panicking,
die.
like that.
I can't die.
No,
can't Tiny Tim can't
Like
die.
a selfish type of way.
Yeah. Just like with the Jim Carrey one, it was the same thing. Like he's freaking out. Like he doesn't want to die. He wants to.
Yeah.
I don't want to live.
Like he's like even here, like he's concerned for Tiny Tim, but just like no, like he's like no, Tim, like you have to consult Tim. I can still help Tim. There won't be an empty crutch by the fireplace. Like I can do something. And he, I am gonna do better. And then like he wakes up, he's like. They do it, and then he does the classical, the spirits. They've done it all in one day, and then, and that's where the ending section I thought is like, it's like you hit all the little points he did before. Like almost everybody he interacted with, even in like the opening like musical number, like he finds a way to like give back to them or acknowledge or recognize. Like I remember watching this part again. It's like he's like, give the mice the cheese, and he gives them little gifts, and she's like, yeah, like. It was like you see all of them like you like thank you, or like when he's giving them gifts, he's like putting coal in the stocking stuffing like as like for the actual accounts like hey, we can burn some coal and stay warm, and then you know he gets the scarf, and the little rabbit guy that freaked him out beforehand. Like he's just like, well, you want me to get the big turkey? He's like, yeah,
here's 5 shillings.
Yeah, he's like 5 more if you bring it back faster. He's just like. Okay, sir. Like he's just like, and it's a little rabbit guy. Like, yeah, do it. And then what part? Oh man, my favorite part is when he runs into Beaker and Bunsen again.
Who?
Yeah. Dude, do you remember Beaker's reaction?
Yeah.
When he sees Scrooge, he's like, woo! Like he just tries to hide his head. Like he does the like I'm gonna hide my head in the scarf kind of thing.
I think I missed that part.
Dude,
I missed that.
His whole like head goes like in
he
his
goes,
shirt.
"Woo," like that, and then like Bunsen just like, oh no, don't worry. It's just like, hey, you gentlemen, you know we're talking about, and then he hits him with
generous.
he hits him with the surprise. He's like, think of it as back pain. Just like, and then Beaker has that like, oh my god, yeah. Like he gives him the scarf. Like that was like he's just like wait, and then that what I thought was really really cool. Or like Beaker, like that's the little things like that little change where Beaker's like, hey, that was really nice of you. At least I can just give you this scarf. And Scrooge wears it the whole rest of the movie. He's like, yeah, I'm aware. This is great. And finally he gets to the Cratchit house, and Miss Piggy gets to do her Miss Piggy things. Oh yeah, we also have to talk about how Kermit cannot recognize his daughters.
It's messed up.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. I'm Bettina. I'm the It's like whatever. He was even like
because I'm guessing they're supposed to be twins.
Yeah, so he's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know which one's which.
He's like, sure.
It's just like, okay. He's like, well, I'm Bettina. Like,
Miss Piggy was also kind of the same. She's like, okay. He's like, oh, but I'm that. Or whatever the one's name was. Like, oh, I'm still this.
Yeah, but I'm still so. So like, don't worry about it. And then like he had one son, and then because he's walking around with Tiny Tim, So he's like, I don't have to worry about the other one because they're not the same.
That shot of him walking with Tiny Tim, that was actually pretty cool how they did it. Because I guess talking just a little bit about
go about production value, go nuts
and stuff. So what was cool is that the floor is actually rotating, or the ground is rotating to make it look like he's moving, and then the houses on the side are like just moving like this and look pretty cool. Like it was pretty cool and practical. To of course, because the puppets, the puppeteers are underneath doing this, so they have to hide that somehow, and that was their. I mean, that was the way they're doing it, but of course, throughout the movie, they have like the strings and whatever that are like invisible.
Of course, yeah, they're overall Muppets and stuff. Like even the flight sequence, like you can tell, like, oh, is he on wire? Like Michael Caine's on wires, yeah. But like then you have like Gonzo and Rizzo tagging along and going through the whole slapstick there. And even like you had a Muppet cat, like having to chase Rizzo around when they're in the past. I love how remember in the past, like, hey, you can't interact or anything in the past. I'm like, that cat says otherwise. Like you're just gonna go maul this poor mouse.
Well, one of my favorite parts, and I remembered this line from when I was a kid, was it was near the beginning, and Gonzo's trying to light the lamp, and then he lights Rizzo on fire. And then Rizzo's like, light the lamp, not the rat, light the lamp.
Yeah.
And then it's like his whole tail goes on fire, and then he just like dunks him.
Oh, he's like into the ice bucket.
He puts him in the ice
bucket. So like, I don't know why, but like when I rewatched that part, I was like, oh, I remember that like clearly. I just remembered like, not the rat, when I was a little kid. I think I repeated it a lot. I was like, not the rat.
Just the voices.
Funny. Yeah.
The voices are great.
I keep coming back to it. Like the movie has like a really fun, or a really fine balance between like the zany, fourth wall breaking, really fun, like over the top Muppet style, and then bringing it back in and reining in it when it needs to be. Like you could argue maybe like, hey, to have more interaction between maybe his nephew, because the original story, like his mother, who is Scrooge's sister, like that was the only person that kind of like cared for him. We only saw like a little bit of that, if at all, I think when he was like a little kid. And then you don't get that much with like the riddle game in Fred's party, when they're just like, oh, is it a creature? It's like you could say like, it's your Uncle Scrooge, and he's just like, wow. Like he kind of like in this version, he's just kind of like, well, that's mean. Like another version is just like, man, that girl's not cool. But this one, like you can see him internalize, just like, wow, like okay, that's what people really do think about me. Like, and that's like my nephew's wife. It's again the subtlety of it, and like I guess really works. It's pretty wild. I think and then again, another departure, as I mentioned it before, is like, what did you guys think about like some of the musical songs that they threw in there? The music, or technically musical numbers.
Yeah, they were fun. I mean, at least for me, the one at the end, since it brings it all home, hits a little harder than the other ones, so I enjoyed that one the most. But they're fun. This classic Muppets, like somehow they'll always infuse music into like comedy routines, but like you don't really mind it because like the movie itself, like overall, it's just like you're having a fun time. It's not, you don't feel like you're watching a musical movie and just like, oh, okay, this is weird. Like somehow they put that goofiness in it, like while doing the musical. So
yeah, like
I like it.
I didn't feel like it was mainly a musical. I just felt like throughout the movie they kind of like sprinkled it in, and it kind of fit.
Yeah, it works. Like I mentioned before, like the one that really works for me, like that really lands, is like Tiny Tim's like song that they all do together. Like because it talks, it just feels good, and he gets to say his "God bless us everyone" kind of thing in there too. So I think it's a big testament, I think, to I forget the guys who wrote the music. Like it's really like it keeps it both classy, but also like it like you said, injects the Muppets kind of
their flair.
Yeah, like it has their flair. Like it's really really nice. But I was worried, honestly, guys. Like I was like, man, I don't know if like they're gonna like jive with it or think it's gonna be cool or anything
But
like
we
that.
still don't know if it did or not.
We'll find out.
Because for me, like with the music, I wasn't paying too much attention to the music. I was just kind of focused on the movie.
Okay.
So when they would sing, you like you fell asleep, or
No, like if I was more like whenever they would have a musical number, I'm watching
Like
it
the
rather
sets?
than listening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like just watching what's going on and not really listening to the music all that much. So I don't really remember any of the songs, to be honest, because I was just focused on what was going on.
All right, fair enough. Okay, good. So
Because
that means it wasn't distracting to the point where it's like, this
Yeah.
is annoying, another music song. But it's just like,
Who did the music? I don't even know who did the music.
the music, the songs were written by Paul Williams, and there was the score was done by Miles Goodman.
Yeah. Okay.
So like they kind of room set together. So, the main one again, like I probably left was "Bless Us All." The Marley and Marley song like was really catchy for me because they're just like, they're doing this whole like the spiel of like you've made your teens in life, you're gonna wear them in death kind of thing, and it's again Statler and Waldorf singing and having a whole thing and being the hecklers that they are, even in death. That's what made that even funnier.
and then don't they get like dragged back down? It's like they're going to hell.
Yeah, they're just like, we're going, and then they get dragged down the stairs, which it could be that too, because from all their chains, and like the music fades away, and you hear them go, woo, like they're having too much fun with it. It's great, freaking great.
It must be fun to record voiceover for
and
Muppets.
work on a Muppet movie.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I would love to ask Jason Segel.
It probably takes a long time because they're probably just goofing off. half the
Yeah.
time.
I mean, I've seen so many like bloopers from Sesame Street, bloopers from Bear in the Big Blue House. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, we know.
And
You mean Baloo?
I think that was one of my
Same-
other favorite shows growing up
Same actor.
as a kid because I didn't know it was Jim Henson
Eureka's
company
Castle?
until like recently when I
Eureka's Castle.
figured. But like usually in those bloopers like someone like messes up their lines and they swear at each other. It's hilarious. It's like, man, like watching these like childhood characters like say like bad words is
And like, and they'll map out the puppetry of it too, like
they'll actually like
because
do
they're the
Hearing
character.
Elmo swears the best.
Yeah, because they're the character. You're using puppetry to bring out a character to life.
It's like they might have forgotten their lines and they might be like bantering with each other, but they're still in character.
Yeah, they're still in character, just forgetting their lines. And again, that's what makes this version to me just work. Like, it's really like it's just like, hey, we're Michael Caine, and this like the story like treats the Muppets as like actual actors and characters, but while doing their Muppety things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. We said that like 18 million times, but it's great. It's really, really great. I guess, putting a little bow on it for Christmas in the end of the year is let's get down to ratings. So I'll start first with Anthony.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll start first with my score. No, I'll start first.
humbug. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's a classic story that you probably were taught when you were younger anyway, from in school at some point.
Yeah,
Hopefully you read the book.
I've never read the book, but
I
who
read the
hasn't
book.
seen
A rendition.
Like
of
a
that.
version.
Yeah, there's
Or
multiple
it's gonna spark
versions. Like the one, the Jim Carrey one you're talking about.
There's
Scrooged, which I actually saw when I was also pretty young. I'm like, I don't think I should have seen this
should
movie.
not have seen
Yeah,
it,
because
yeah.
it's kind of messed up. But
I mean, there's like other Disney versions of it. You've got also like an All Dogs Go to Heaven version of it with All Dogs Christmas Carol. You got a bunch of
I've
stuff.
never seen that.
Yeah, like
You also have the
That one I watched a lot growing up.
the
Actually.
new musical version in Spirited.
Oh, Spirited, yes.
yeah, Spirited.
The
is
Will Ferrell movie?
Will Ferrell
it's
and
it's
Ryan
the same
Reynolds.
story?
Yeah.
It's the same
Oh, okay.
type
I
of
didn't even
story.
know that. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell
And
is
then-
the ghost of the present.
Netflix also made like a new animated one called Scrooge something.
Big Duck? Like Uncle Scrooge?
No, it's
DuckTales?
Oh, it's just Scrooge, A Christmas Carol
Oh, okay.
by Netflix.
Classic.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
In
I thought
Netflix
it was,
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, it's a yeah.
Donald Duck's uncle.
The one I guess before we get into ratings, we've seen the other versions we've seen. I don't know if you guys remember this one. Anthony might have. It was on TNT. It should have been like in a video release, but the Patrick Stewart one. It was.
I saw
that one.
Patrick Stewart?
Probably.
Sir Patrick Stewart.
I mean,
yes.
I might have seen it, but again, like if it was in the 90s or was it early 90s?
It was mid 90s. It actually came out late 90s, 1999. I remember watching it on like a
probably
band trip.
watched it, but I was probably like not even paying attention to it much because I do remember him in like his costume as Scrooge, but I don't remember much else. I'm trying to think where I watched it. Whatever, regardless. I mean, it's a good story,
It's a classic.
Yeah, it's just good reflection of, past, present, and future. Just a reflection of oneself and to look back to see what you've done and then see what you can change and change about yourself and just do better. So it's like
No, you still always have
It's
time.
always a good story.
yeah, it's always an overall good story, and in the end he realizes like, oh, I have all this money, and instead of me being a grumpy old man, let me like spread the wealth and save. Actually, like he actually like shared and like saved people's lives. Like
those mice
like-
that got that cheese, they're living.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. Like they're for sure living. Little bunny kid does not have to go around, asking for pennies. Like they give that kid 5 shillings just to get the turkey. Like it's great stuff.
Like don't waste your privilege. So it's good.
Yeah, and like it's just keeping Christmas in your heart.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, good message, and yeah, this version is, it might be the best or one of the best versions, and it's been 31 years.
I'm gonna say 1 week.
No, it's been 31 years, and I don't know if there's been one that has topped it since then. So, yeah, they did a good job. I wonder if they'll ever do like a remake with the Muppets. Probably not, but it would be interesting.
They could, even though I don't want them to. But I think they could. But
Mhm.
I don't think they should.
I liked it. I'd probably give it like maybe like 7.5. Like very, very solid, very nice. Obviously, good message for kids and adults. Like it's a good message for everyone. So yeah, it's a very solid and well-made movie. I almost said Muppeteers. I mean,
Muppeteers.
that is a word, I guess. But yeah, all the effects and the Muppets were really cool. So yeah, overall enjoyed it. Hard 7.5.
Ooh, okay.
Like a snowy 7.5.
Okay, nice. All right. I like that. All right, let's go to Danny.
So, I wasn't always a big fan of Muppets, and when you mentioned that you were going to recommend this movie, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna.
Knew it.
I don't know if I'm gonna like this one because I never grew up watching Muppets. I never got like any like attachment to it or like just. I was never interested in it. And then also like some musical pieces. I'm not a big musical fan either. But this movie surprised me.
Surprised you?
Nice.
Yeah.
A good surprise?
A good surprise.
Pleasant surprise.
Like I think maybe like the first maybe couple minutes I was like,
boy.
I don't know.
You're like,
I don't know how I
it
feel
was
about
the
this.
Gonzo Rizzo banter. He's like, oh, this is what we're doing?
Yeah, like,
Oh.
oh,
This isn't
man.
for me.
How long is this movie? 1 hour and 20 minutes. Oh my god. But no, then it started to then I started to get invested in Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Cocaine.
I thought he was great.
Yeah, dude. It's awesome.
Alfred.
He really pulled the movie for me. And I'll give it a solid 7. Like
Solid 7. You know what?
Like-
I expected less. So I'm
And
happy about that.
Snowballs of 7.
I expected less too.
Damn.
But I think and then I had mentioned it earlier. I think the part that I enjoyed the most was like that last third of the movie, with the last ghost and like that whole like
And the resolution.
emotional and like resolution. So that really pulled it for me.
I think it is on Disney Plus, but
Yeah,
It
it is.
There's
no,
even an
I'm
extended
not the
version.
movie. I'm saying like the Muppet Show from the 90s, the 80s and the 90s. If it's on Disney Plus, I
And
suggest
70s maybe.
Yeah, I suggest you watch it because I was the same. Like when I would stay home, it was like Price
Well, they
is
have the
Right,
Muppet
collection.
Muppets.
The
it was-
76 show, I think.
American Gladiators.
Yeah, man. So like Muppets was always part of that, the
Great.
circle of shows I would watch throughout the day.
They have the whole like Muppets like category in Disney Plus, so
'Cause I know they have
do
a lot
have
of
a bunch of
movies.
movies
Yeah, they have a lot of
Yeah.
series.
'Cause, I mean,
It's just
has
something,
Disney always owned it, or have they always been partners?
Well, I think they bought it out in like 2004.
Yeah, it was
Well,
recent.
because this movie is partly produced with Disney.
Well, this was the first one that they
it was the first one. Oh, okay.
produced with it.
So in February of
Yeah,
2004 is when they bought out the Muppets. Or not,
So they bought
Yeah,
Muppets
yeah, they
before,
acquired the Muppets from the Henson family in February of 2004.
and then they bought Pixar like what, a year later, 2 years later.
Yeah, that's when they're just like, we got the money, we're gonna buy it. We're gonna buy it. All right.
So- buy
yeah, they
everything.
had that whole not the ride, but the 3D show and that section of
That was next to
MGM
Honey, I Shrunk the
Studios.
Kids.
no, it was in MGM Studios.
Yeah, well, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was also in MGM Studios.
Was it? I thought that
Yeah.
was in. Oh no, the area.
The area.
Yeah, not the
area, not the
3D
movie.
show, yeah.
Not the movie or anything. Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Yeah,
It was. I
they don't
remember
have
that
they don't
area-
have this stuff anymore.
No, they.
Oh
They
yeah,
used to have a
I
whole-
didn't even know that existed
Well,
there.
I don't even know if you've seen Honey I Shrunk the Kids, but there used to
I've never seen the
be
movie, no.
a whole area where it was just like
Well,
they
everything's
made
huge.
everything huge, so they
Yeah.
would have like huge plastic ants with like grass everywhere, and it was like you walking around like the backyard.
It's a very
cool.
interesting property to use to have like a themed section. That's
Well, because the place
Yeah,
used
it
to be
was-
called
It was very
MGM
popular.
Studios.
Yeah, it was a popular movie.
Well, I mean, I remember
now it's
I
just
used to go
Hollywood
there when it was
Studios,
MGM Studios. Then they changed to Disney Hollywood Studios, and then they took out some stuff. They took out that lights camera.
Action.
No, it's called something else. Lights camera.
The stunt show or the
Yeah, that stunt
Oh,
show.
yeah,
the cars
they-
and
Indiana
lights.
Jones, though.
No.
No, it was like in like the back part of the where the Star Wars is now. I think it was like in that
It
section.
had like a plane.
No, it was cars
it was
and
like the
bikes.
special.
Oh, the cars. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There used to be I think it was by the Honey I Shrunk the Kids area. It was like a
Like
visual effects, yeah, kind of
Yeah.
like Earthquake. It was like a visual effects ride where you would go through like different movie sets of
No, that's something
movies,
else.
and then like
Yeah.
they would show you like, oh, this is how they did this scene, and like things would be exploding while you're like watching it.
Yeah.
It was pretty
And,
cool.
yeah,
but
I
they
was
took that
like-
away too. I'm like,
I remember seeing.
I like those things, man.
Like I was like, man, this is so.
it's the same
cool.
thing with the Earthquake ride in Universal. Like they had
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole ride that
There was also like a Twister one.
similar.
Kinda like
yeah, it was
yeah.
similar in a similar
Well,
vein.
there was a Twister ride, but I don't.
That's
I think that was
Universal.
Universal.
yeah, and that got taken by the Jimmy,
Jimmy
Fallon,
Fallon
ride.
ride.
Is it Jimmy Fallon
Oh.
ride?
Yes,
Yeah.
there is a Jimmy
Ride?
Fallon. It's called Corporate Synergy.
And before Twister, it was a Ghostbusters show.
Oh man, the
Oh, sounds
Ghostbusters
better.
show.
Yeah,
Because it was.
my back.
All right, so before
So
we,
yeah. So
before,
Anyway,
we,
theme
before we
parks.
keep going back to the ghosts of Christmas
parks.
past, Zach, let's get
Is the
back to
Muppets
you.
3D still at Hollywood Studios?
No, yeah, that's still there. I went
believe
there
it's
like a
still
year.
there.
Okay,
I went like a
I
year
go
and a half
there
ago.
every time I go to
Yeah, it was
MGM,
there.
or I still call MGM, but every time I go there, I see that show.
Because I think
It's always fun.
when I went there a couple years ago, I did the that new Mickey Mouse.
The train rain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
that's cool.
I
And I
haven't yet
think
to
right
go on
next
yet.
to it was the Muppets one. Like right there by was a Muppets one.
Did they take
Which-
away Pizza Planet?
I don't know.
Because it was right by that Muppets
Yeah,
3D
they have
show.
to have the Pizza
don't
Planet. Still has
remember
to be there. I remember eating it there. I was like, "It's Pizza Planet."
There were certain parts of the park where of any of the
They've
parks
changed
where
a
I
lot
just
of that park.
I
Yeah.
don't remember or I never went to.
Anyways, Zach gives it a flat
Anyway.
9.
Yeah, Beaker had a great touching moment with Michael Caine Scrooge.
So kind of similar to Danny. I never grew up on the Muppets all that much. Like I mentioned before. Well, I don't know if I had mentioned it before recording or mentioned it at the beginning, but Sesame Street was my thing growing up, and a little bit of Bear in the Big Blue House, which are both Jim Henson productions. But the actual Muppets with Kermit, Miss Piggy, and the rest of the gang, I never really watched too much. The movie that came out a few years ago, the one with Jason Segel, that one was like the first one.
Great movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot. But going into it, I kind of had an idea of what this would be like. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of slapstick, a lot of like bantering and stuff between characters and whatnot. I was expecting it, but it was also done well because it's Muppets. They like I can't think of. I mean, you guys have seen more Muppet stuff than I have. I'm sure there's maybe one or two turds out there, but most of them are probably.
I mean, we also remember we saw Labyrinth too, so that's some of that too. Where he's talking about turds, and I'm like in my mind, I was like, man, we should have them watch Dark Crystal. He's like, and he mentioned turds, and I'm just like, I'm so mad more people didn't watch Dark Crystal.
No, not like other properties by the studio, but the Muppets specifically. Like, if there any turd films
they made a like a modern TV show maybe like 5 years ago or something. I think it was on ABC, and it was kind of weird because I think it was trying to be like a workplace comedy, but with the Muppets or something.
I remember that. Yeah,
I saw one episode. I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't know, and I think it got canceled after like one season. I could be wrong, but I just remember me personally, I didn't like it that much. But maybe if I kept watching it, I would have liked it. But so that's the only one I could think of currently. Muppet Treasure Island is great.
Muppet Treasure Island, I feel like it's the opposite of this. Where like,
but it's still good though.
Like Tim Curry is basically like a human Muppet. It's great, but it's still awesome. Like that, I can do a whole other episode about that one. That one's great too.
A lot of what they make, I'm sure, is like either pretty good to great, or to like amazing and beyond and what not. So I mean,
the Jason Segel movie came out 2011.
2011. Yep.
Man, 12 years. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been a hot minute. But yeah,
so,
if you have to give it a, how many out of 10 whoopie?
Yeah, that's a high score.
I was gonna say like Fozzie whoopie pies, but like it's just okay. That's better.
I think
9 Wakas.
I think a 7.5 is
7.5. Yeah, I'm actually impressed.
Nice.
I'm thoroughly impressed. That's kind of awesome.
But that's like did you see the Happy Time Murders? It's not the Muppets, but it was the Jim Henson Company made all the puppets for that movie. So it's like a rated R comedy, in quotes, because it wasn't that funny.
McCarthy in it.
It wasn't that funny.
Yeah, it was meant to be like a raunchy rated R comedy, but with puppets.
It was rated R?
Yeah, it was.
Interesting.
So it was like, some parts were funny, but overall it was whatever.
Yeah, it was.
I've never...
Yeah, it's called the Happy Time Murders.
Happy Time Murders.
It sounds kind of familiar, but I've never watched it for sure.
Okay.
But I might have heard it once or twice in passing.
Yeah, it's actually... It's interesting, but I don't know. I'd go out and watch it. But anyway, very cool. I guess I'll wrap it up here. Like my favorite Christmas Carol is the one from 1984 with George C. Scott, but this is my second favorite because of just how how everything works. Like, it shouldn't work on paper in theory, but because of the love that everybody and care that everybody that worked on the movie put into it, it makes it a really fun and enjoyable experience. While, like, to Anthony's point, is still keeping the spirit, no pun intended, of the idea and the concept of what the story is all about. So kind of, and it's obviously a quintessential Christmas movie, but in terms of how to tell this particular story, it's a great way to really kind of hit it home. And at the same time, it's great that if you've seen other versions or like the classical versions of it, like from the 50s or even some of the plays that show it in a just straight from the book, that type of retelling, this is just that nice kind of like little counterbalance to it, but it also helps you see it from a different perspective, if that makes any sense. Like, knowing about the original Charles Dickens story makes this version that would already be good on its own, I feel like it just makes it better. So I would give this a solid ocho.
Oh.
Yeah, solid 8. Yeah.
So we're all kind of in the same ballpark range, 7 to 8.
Yeah. I think we're all in the same spot there. So feels good, guys. Feels good. Yeah. See? You guys were worried, Danny.
Yeah.
Would you say
Mr.
it's
Skeptic.
a classical banger?
It is absolutely a classic.
We're calling 1992 classic. No, I'm kidding. In terms of a classical story,
anything over 25 years is considered.
You
a
go
classic.
on the radio and what
Linkin
songs?
Park?
Not even Linkin Park. Before, like Nirvana, classic rock. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, so if that's like, but if you go off of the classical Charles Dickens story, then yeah, it's a banger. It's a banger of a freaky Christmas story. Yeah, why not? So pivoting over to other stuff, let's get the folks another Christmas gift, which is going to be the topic of next episode.
Yeah. So
Danny, what do we got going on?
This time it's my turn to pick. This one Zach hasn't seen.
Oh,
Nice. So we've all seen it except Zach?
Yes.
Oh,
sure?
Interesting.
Yes. And I know this because he mentioned it some time ago.
So we got to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like how long ago?
Back
Like,
to the future.
Maybe either one of the last two recordings when we were just chatting.
Last action hero.
So this is a not Christmas movie as we continue the trend.
oh boy.
Not Christmas.
Okay. Not
Yeah.
Christmas.
What does that mean?
And you'll know once I say it. Obviously we
Oh
gotta
my God, we
do
have
this.
to.
We gotta do Die Hard.
I knew it.
Die Hard.
The first one.
It's still in
Cover
theaters,
your
man.
ears.
It's still in
It's
theaters.
still in theaters.
Yep.
So go watch it.
Man, this movie's a classic.
What time is it?
Classic.
There are
Classic banger.
It is
There
a
are
classic
explosions.
banger.
A classic banger.
Literally.
Directed by
And-
the same guy who directed The Predator.
Yeah.
John McTiernan.
An 80s movie, you know?
Automatic 5.
Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman. So I'm just curious to see Zach's take on the
I've
original.
never seen Alec. Oh my god, I can't even say his name.
Alan Richardson.
Alan Rickman?
Alan Richardson.
I haven't seen Alan Rickman
Jack
in
Reacher?
anything other than Harry Potter.
Are you serious?
Oh.
I'm
Young
absolutely
Hitchcock?
100% serious.
Dogma?
Yeah, you never seen Dogma? He's great in Dogma.
To me, he's Severus Snape, and that's it.
No. So you know what? Okay.
To
so-
everyone else, he's
No.
this character.
No, to everyone else, he's either Hans Gruber or he is
What a name.
Prince John from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, was it that live action one that came out? No.
That
Before
live
you were
action,
born.
not Russell Crowe. No,
Oh, okay, never mind.
I'm talking about
Kevin
Kevin
Costner.
Costner,
Oh.
and with that crazy Bryan Adams soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
But I know
Classic banger. That's another
Do
classic
it
banger.
for Die Hard.
I know Zach has seen one of the Die Hard movies.
Yeah, Live Free or Die Hard.
That's
Okay.
so
With
weird.
Justin Long.
Just that one.
I don't remember him being in the movie.
Oh, he's in it.
And Timothy Oliphant.
I don't remember Mary Elizabeth being in it either.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
That's where he and Bruce Willis got like cool.
I never knew that. Yeah.
Oh, I see
And
you're a big
I saw the
fan of
movie
the
in
Fett.
theaters
Not much
also.
of the Star
Oh,
Wars.
interesting.
I saw it in theaters.
Sorry.
Maggie Q.
Maggie Q.
No idea who that is.
You don't know
What?
who Maggie Q
Well, you
is?
should.
You never saw Nikita.
You're about to get cued.
Maggie Q'd. Anyway, we're gonna queue up Die Hard because that's what
Yeah.
we're gonna be watching. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Because I have no idea.
Good
That'll be a
pick.
fun
It's streaming
discussion.
on AMC theaters. That's what
Go
it's
watch it in the movie theater with some
That would actually
popcorn.
be pretty cool.
With some popcorn, you got to take your shoes off. You know, you got to get up into
Soda pop.
Oh, get a soda pop.
have
Soda
a
pop.
couple of laughs, and hang out with a guy named Argyle. That's such a cool name. All right, Danny, I like that pick. Hopefully, everyone who is listening likes that pick too. We'd love to get your thoughts on what your favorite version of a Christmas Carol is. Some of us now might have changed it to being a Muppet Christmas Carol, but reach out to us. We're on all the socials. We're on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, Threads. Check us out on the Instagram polls. Danny will be posting
YouTube.
them up. And we have our YouTube recaps that we have here. Hopefully soon we're going to be getting back to video, so you get to see our beautiful mugs, talk about some fun stuff on TV and film, and the occasional maybe Zach Beaker impersonation again. We'll have to save that for next time. With that, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It really means a lot to us. We hope you all have a happy holidays, whatever holiday you do celebrate. Hope you guys get some great gifts and spend time with some family and friends. Thank you so much again. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.